It's the 10 to 1 podcast with your host, Brad Ullman, featuring Ben Conowitz and Nate Laux. And here's the podcast. Woo, we're back. Oh, first I thought you were doing a ghost.
This is a theremin again. That's a little inside baseball from Go Flix Yourself, but I will say, sounded like a theremin. Brad, I will say, for being October, not your spookiest version of Don Pardo. Because no one was like, ooh, it's the 10 to 1 podcast.
Well, it's not the Halloween episode.
We'll wait.
We had a couple weeks for that one. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're fucking back. We did it.
Saturday Night Live, season
SNL.
48. October 1st was the first episode of the season, hosted by Miles Teller. Musical guest Kendrick Lamar. This is a big new season because we are missing 8 cast members and we have 4 new featured players.
All right, wait.
Oh, go ahead.
Let's play this game here. Let's go back and forth. Who can name all the cast members that are gone, starting with you, Brad?
Oh, you want me to name all of them?
No, go one, and then we'll go Ben.
Aidy Bryant.
Kate McKinnon.
Kyle Mooney.
Pete Davidson.
Alex Moffat.
Chris Redd.
Melissa Villaseñor.
Aristotle Athari.
Yeah, you never knew his name.
I didn't know his name.
Aristotle Athari. I win.
Yeah.
I think I just said that.
You said Aristotle.
But I was so glad that Ben got to end on Aristotle because I knew that he was his favorite last year.
I did love him so much.
I liked him last year.
That's 6.
That was all 8.
I thought it was 8.
Yeah, that was all 8.
Oh, is that all 8?
Yeah.
Okay, that felt like 6.
Now, can you name all 4 of the new featured players?
Absolutely. Ready? Flurg Bergensen.
Fleur Bergensen had a great mwah in the opening.
First of all, German guy.
Okay, so Michael Longfellow.
Yep.
Molly Kearney.
Yep.
Or Carney.
You don't know.
Devin Walker.
Yep.
And Marcelo Hernandez.
Good job. You got all 4 of them. Way
wow,
to go.
that's impressive.
We both knew that.
I only had it written down. And what season is this for Keenan?
Oh, is it?
18.
Yeah, there you go.
No, this is his 20th season.
Whoa!
Correct.
Actually, he
Man.
posted a picture, I think, of on Instagram of him backstage his first season, and then he kind of recreated the picture a little bit for the 20th season.
Guys, I was so excited to be back, and we'll get to whether the episode was good or not.
We'll
right?
get to that.
But I was so excited to be back. I was ready for SNL again. It's also like the beginning of fall for me now when SNL comes back. So it's
I think it's the beginning of fall for everybody when SNL comes
stop
back.
it.
It technically is the beginning of fall.
Halloween.
Ben Conowitz's favorite Halloween.
What are you doing?
Ben
Are you doing like
Conowitz
an old-time radio special?
And by the way, I said
Ben Hollowitz is Jesus.
I also said Holloway for no reason. Ben loves the Holloway. What the fuck am I doing?
This radio
Ben
show sucks.
Conowitz loves Halloween because it is an extension of Halloween.
Why don't you call it Conoween?
Because
Not great.
I've said that before, and I'm not allowed around schools.
Hey, did you guys notice too? I know you guys are also similarly to me. You guys look at all the credits when they roll. You see that there's been a lot of change in writers as well.
I didn't because unlike
Brad and I don't do
look at the
that.
credits.
We don't.
So
like,
no. Here's a big deal.
Did you filter through?
No, here's a big deal.
Okay.
This is
All
a big change.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Che and Colin Jost are no longer the head writers of the show.
Really?
Correct.
Oh.
Yeah. So Allison Gates, Streeter Seidel, and Ken Sublett, who were also co-head writers last year.
Yeah.
But who was the longtime producer that just left, though? I think that's more important.
It was a woman, right?
Yes. Her name was Sarah?
Anna, no, she was a writer. I can't remember.
There was a longtime producer that just left, and I feel like that'll do more for the show.
But so they brought in 4 new writers as well. All these new cast members that they've had shifting, it's just seems weird to me, I think that's
a huge shift.
And we'll get into this. I think it played a
huge
little bit in the episode, just this weird kind of newness dynamic.
It's
Nobody
funny to me
knowing
that you pointed this out because I saw in
I think it was the SNL fans Facebook group that like we're all in. It's
Yep.
like it's a
Well,
big
I don't
one.
think Ben is. I don't think he ever accepted the invite.
No. I
And
won't.
someone posted like about the episode, and like I saw in the thing, it's like, oh gosh, Colin Jost is one of the worst head writers of all time, and now it's hilarious to me. It's like, well, he's not the head writer anymore. So
By the way,
fuck
you need to join this Facebook group, and I forget what it's called on Facebook, but if our listeners are listening, there's this Facebook group that just does like SNL stuff. But what I love about it is Brad and I are in this group, and sometimes we'll even exchange things through text about the stuff in the group. But I barely ever see Brad ever post until he gets mad enough that he has to post something.
It takes something unfathomably stupid
Yeah.
or
But
insanely
you're always
annoying for me to
mad.
be like,
You're always
"Ooh."
mad. Yes, that's what I love.
So
it.
does he come in piping hot? Like, listen, motherfucker.
If you see Brad post, I could tell he's been mad and he's been stewing about it, and that's the best thing about it. That's what I love.
By the way, it's longtime SNL producer Lindsay Shookus.
There you go.
Yeah,
She is the one. She also produced specials, including Miley's New Year's Eve party in 2021.
Which was hilarious.
We got a new SNL logo. We got a new SNL beginning. There's just a lot of newness
Yeah.
to
Oh,
this.
new. And also,
stylish opening credits.
sorry,
I liked it too.
Upgrades. Punky Johnson is now, of course, a feature. No longer a feature player.
And Andrew Dismukes
is also in the main cast.
James Austin Johnson and Sarah Sherman did not get the call up.
Well, that's not what that. That's
no,
not what
no,
that means.
they did not get the call
That's
up.
not Nate. That's not how
They
that
did
works.
not get the call
Oh
up.
my God, they're in their second freaking year. That's
You know who else is?
Louise.
And honestly, that was actually a thing online. I just can't believe
The James Austin Johnson didn't
Oh my
get.
God, calm it down. Andy Samberg was the last person to get called up after his first year. It
Yeah.
it happens.
That's
Okay,
not how it works.
and that might actually not be accurate, but I think that feels right.
That seems right.
You both looked at me like, yeah, he knows what he's talking about.
Andy Samberg was a featured player for 7 years.
He's also producing this show. I don't know if you know this. Anyway,
So this Miles Teller fella, is he a big deal or no?
He's done some Disney Channel shows and movies, I think.
he has less of a body of work than you would think because
but he's got a killer body in general.
oh my
Yes.
The guy is a bona fide movie star. However, he's really not had 30 to 40 films under his belt.
No,
he's got a handful.
And he's actually hasn't led a lot of movies either.
No. Obviously, Whiplash was where he broke onto the scene, but kind of that's J.K. Simmons' movie.
Yeah.
And then, of course, he's in Top Gun Maverick as Rooster Goose.
He's the lead in Spiderhead, but that's recent. That's this year.
Again, no, that's a Netflix film. That's not like a blockbuster, in any
And you guys obviously haven't seen the Divergent movies.
fine.
He's a small part in those movies anyway.
Only the Brave
Yep.
with Josh Brolin. But again, he's the complicated young buck.
And he's shared with groups too, like that awkward moment with Zac Efron.
He's been in films again.
Yeah.
But he has not led.
War Dogs. Did you guys see that one, War Dogs?
Oh, we hated War Dogs.
I like War Dogs.
We saw it together, and we were very upset.
And why, Brad? I've said this 15 times on Go Flix Yourself. So you know what? Just please tell the people, just really quickly, why I hated.
Go Flex Yourself is our other podcast,
yeah.
but go.
yeah, because it is not the movie that they sell to
They
you.
portrailer this movie
Yeah.
as a fun, really great. It looks like a good movie from the trailer, and it's just bad.
Yeah, it's not good. I did not like it.
I mean, I didn't think it was bad, but
No,
whatever.
it's
fine.
bad.
You can be wrong here.
I mean, it has a 65%.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a
rating
new
on
episode.
Rotten Tomatoes, so more people agree.
Miles
with me than not.
Teller, Kendrick Lamar, season 48. We're back.
How did that cold open go?
The cold open was the Peyton Manning,
Who's the Manning cast?
Eli
Yeah.
Manning cast, which. So okay.
I watch football, so I watch.
I was going to
this.
say, if you don't watch football, it might be a little weird to be like, "What is this?"
I don't think so because
So I was going to say,
think
Brad, you don't watch football, so you tell me.
no,
how did
but
it
I
go?
understand the concept of post-show analysis.
Do you
But
Hey,
but
Brad,
did you know that was
American
a thing that they
football
do?
is a sport?
So I didn't know for a fact that this was something
A real thing?
that Eli and Peyton Manning actually did
Yeah.
after Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
But the concept itself was not something that I couldn't believe or understand because there are always post-game shows.
And that's absolutely fair. So I have a
so the Manning cast is real.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they watch. Essentially, it's watching a game with you, and the Mannings are.
Oh, and they do it live.
Oh yeah, and the Mannings
Oh.
are commenting on the game, so it's like you're watching a game with the Manning brothers.
Wow, that sucks.
No, it's actually great.
It's funny because they're hilarious.
They're
Yeah.
awesome and hilarious.
And
I don't want to watch a football game while Eli and Peyton Manning are talking the whole time.
No, it's like having literally, let's say, just two really funny guys who are absolute experts at it, breaking down things in a real fun way.
And brothers that tease each other.
Yeah.
all the time.
No, but here's the thing. I love commentaries from filmmakers on movies that I've seen.
Right.
I don't want to watch Pulp Fiction for the first time and have Quentin Tarantino go, so this is where I wanted to get a close-up of Uma Thurman's feet because her feet are really luscious and I want to suck on the toe.
I'm not going to listen to Chris Collinsworth. I'm going to listen to Peyton Manning and Eli Manning.
You have to realize that instead of listening to like Chris Collinsworth and Al Michaels be like, and so-and-so's on the 42, it's the play-by-play's gone and now it's just them talking.
No, I get it. But I don't.
That's part of the game.
It's great. It's great. You're wrong.
You're wrong.
And I've always hated that part of the game.
The talking?
Yes.
Anyway, I have a unique perspective on this episode because I was in California watching it with on my friend's TV. He doesn't watch SNL. His wife doesn't watch SNL.
Yeah.
And I said, I have a podcast. I'd like to use your Hulu. Can I watch the show?
Does he subscribe now?
No. So we sat down to watch it, and he was like, I don't get this.
He doesn't watch sports?
No, he doesn't watch SNL.
Oh.
So the meta stuff about Kate McKinnon being gone,
okay.
he was like, he was on his phone. He's like, I'm so bored right now. I could just see it in his face.
Like he doesn't even know who Kate McKinnon is?
No, he doesn't watch the show.
I know.
But here's the idea. To me, honestly, this speaks a little bit to it because if you are going to do this SNL, if you're going to launch into season 48 and it's a brand new show, there was a lot of meta stuff that we, of course, love. But if you're trying to attract anybody new, it's a real weird go because maybe do that a little later. This is the first sketch on the first show, and you're trying to attract new viewers, and you're just talking about what happened last year. And my buddy John, honestly, he's like, I don't understand. Why would I like this? I don't get this.
All right, I love you with all my heart, and I like John. But you guys are wrong. This was really good.
No, this is great, but the timing is what I'm saying. Why is this right the first thing?
Here's the thing: is they were acknowledging that there. I mean, honestly, we just lost cast members last week. We lost a cast member, Chris Redd, that came out because Keenan affair potentially, like he's dating his ex-wife. All of this was just like I feel like in the last month it was chaos,
and that's fine. But we are diehard fans, and we're like 1 out of a billion people that feel the general public doesn't know any of this, and they're throwing it out.
They have like 30 million viewers an episode.
Nope.
And they have even more on their YouTube videos. I get what Ben is saying, and I agree to a certain extent, but also like when you have a show that has run as long as SNL, and a lot of stuff that they're doing in here are tropes that have been around beyond just last season. So like sure, some of the cast member references are niche and people who maybe are watching for the first time won't entirely get. But the overall concept of the show, the sketch itself, I think still worked and still works on a meta level if you don't get that. And like, because you don't always have to have something that appeals to the lowest common denominator or the broadest audience.
Which is John.
I am not saying that. I'm saying why lead off like. Again, with the political.
Well, to be fair, I think it's because it was probably their strongest sketch of the night. Well, I don't know what else to start the show with.
No, that's fair.
That is true.
But the political cold open stuff that we always talk about, like people drop off SNL after the first 5 minutes because they watch something that's boring and they stop watching. This is that. Like,
but astute listeners will know that we were tired of that stuff, though.
And I'm tired of this.
And we changed the show.
Put this 5 to 10 minutes in, where the real true fans of SNL will get the meta shit. Lead with something that's going to bring viewers, but I don't know.
I'm not saying you're wrong because I think there is some validity to that.
I don't dislike the sketch at all. I think the placement of it is poor. That's all.
I will say I want to talk a little bit about the actual quality of the sketch. All right.
Great.
So Miles Teller did a great Peyton Manning.
I didn't realize how much Miles Teller looked like Peyton Manning until I saw him in that wig.
It's uncanny. It really is. Like it was
great.
amazing. I thought there was some really funny. Again, I know it's meta. You're right. It is. It's inside baseball.
I don't have a problem with it though. Like, I want to just
the whole idea
hit that on the head.
Of a new cast member coming and they're commentating on him like, he's stuck. He's looking into the camera now. He doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Good.
That stuff makes me laugh.
It's great.
There's all these new cast members you don't know. That was the first time I saw that guy. Right. I don't know him. And you got so many guys and new cast members involved. I thought John Hamm's cameo there was hilarious.
And the meta joke,
right?
So he's talking about, you can't get Tom Cruise or a John Hamm, so maybe you get the co-star.
Yep.
Other movies like, well, I've also heard that they don't often have the host in the cold open, so it feels pretty special to me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is great.
It's like, what did you see tonight? I don't know, but it wasn't comedy. That line got me.
I guess maybe I came on too strong there. I mean
Were
to
you
say,
grumpy when you were watching SNL?
no, I just meant to say, like, I really, because I saw with my friends that don't watch SNL, I wish they would have gotten something like, so I sent my friends, after we were done with the episode, I sent them the most evil invention sketch from The Rock. Mm-hmm. This is what SNL can be when it's just lightning in a bottle and very funny. In a lot of the stuff in this episode wasn't that, but especially that first, cold open sketch could have been. I've said it 16 times.
I think that's the thing, though, that you have to like. That's tough when you're watching it with people who don't watch the show and they don't get it. And I think that's the tough thing that SNL has always had is if someone tunes in on a given night and they're not a regular viewer,
right,
and it happens to be a bad episode, there's like, oh well, I guess SNL's not funny anymore, and they won't watch it again for another 5 years until a host they like.
I probably had too much invested in the fact that they did this because I'm like, I really wanted them to.
No,
like
of course,
the show.
I've had that same feeling too, and like I there's some merit to that for sure. And again, you're not wrong, but like I think that there's
the sketch itself though was very good.
Yes, and there is something that comes from like being a longtime watcher of SNL. There are things that you're rewarded with that you get because you watch.
Sure.
And people that love watching SNL are gonna really enjoy that stuff. And
if it's just me and Bailey on the couch,
yeah,
we've
exactly,
seen everything in the past 5 years.
Yeah.
We're dying laughing.
And like it's SNL is one of those shows where like you kind of do have to stick with it through the good and the bad
so
to really appreciate
fuck you,
it.
John.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Miles Teller monologue written by Mike DeCenzo and Jake Norwin. First-time host Miles Teller talks about preparing for his role in Top Gun Maverick and growing up as a diehard SNL fan. What did you think of this one, Benny? Did you like this one a little better or no?
Very Sudekian when they're trying to like bring in the nostalgia, and anytime a host can bring in something true from their childhood, which has a connection to the show, how does that not automatically endear you to that person?
Especially when you have a video to go.
Just like was Oscar Isaac.
Yeah,
wasn't
exactly.
It? Yeah.
So.
And the fact that it was actually SNL based too made it even better.
If you're because Oscar Isaac was only filming
just a home video that he made with his friends.
This is of SNL.
Yep.
If you're trying to make me love Miles Teller as an SNL host,
that's exactly what I thought. Or just as a whole. Like
right.
I don't know a ton about Miles Teller personally,
and I was on board.
But
it wasn't the funniest thing I've ever seen. But at the same time, I'm like, okay,
he was endearing.
He's clearly and honestly, I've talked about this at length. The host in the monologue, whether they're nervous or not, it makes me think how they're going to do overall, obviously, but like how willing they are to get crazy and do weird shit. And clearly in this episode, Miles Teller was willing to do anything. And that was pretty apropos of the monologue saying, remember when I was the Spartan cheerleader, I was actually Sherry O'Terry's character? Like, this is great. Yeah. He's going to be willing to do anything. And I was on board.
I don't know about you guys, but there's something about... For me, when I watch and I see these big movie stars, Miles Teller, who, again, isn't in a ton of movies. He is in a lot, but
he is a movie star.
He is a legitimate movie star who you could tell SNL is a big deal to them. And that for some reason means a lot to me because SNL is a big deal to us, right? That they haven't gotten so big that being on SNL isn't like something they're going to talk about all month or all year,
And also, I love to, and I wonder if this is going to be something that becomes more prominent if this kind of stuff exists and they can get a hold of it. But we're reaching a generation of actors now who have always had video cameras in their life, and they probably recorded a lot of themselves if they wanted to be an actor for a long time. And so they have the stuff that's pretty easily accessible because they converted it into a computer file, or they have a digital tape or something like that.
When I see movie these days, and any movie, doesn't mean comedy, whatever, and there's an old photo of the actor, and you can tell it's probably really them from high school. I love that, right? Yeah. And you're right. We're getting into the thing where, well, why wouldn't we just grab? We don't have to Photoshop one,
right?
We've got one from Ryan Gosling in high school,
exactly.
And it's full color, and it's from the '80s, and it's there. So I think you're exactly right. Like that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Like I want to see more of that.
It's fun.
All right, moving on. Send Something Normal, written by Martin Herlihy, John Higgins, Ben Marshall, and Augusta White. It might be August. I don't know. There's an E at the end of August. Who knows? A social media-inspired game show challenges celebrities like Adam Levine, played by Mikey Day, Armie Hammer, played by James Austin Johnson, Neil deGrasse Tyson, played by Keenan, and Bowen Yang to respond to DMs in a normal way.
Bowen Yang, played by
Bowen Yang. They've done stuff kind of like this. This isn't a new type of sketch, you know.
Wait, they've done game show sketches before?
what?
Game show sketches.
Wow.
But
Surprise.
also
New.
the idea that, you know, try not to be the worst form of yourself, and then they become the worst form of themselves.
This was very clearly inspired by Adam Levine's actual adulterous transgressions on social media.
Yep. There was some things to like about this sketch that I did like.
I actually really enjoyed this sketch
no, I didn't mind this at all.
for the most part. Yeah, it was pretty funny, especially them reading the text out loud. Holy moly!
So what I will say is, like, when I see a sketch like this and it's not Keenan as the host and it's not Andrew Desmuke as the host, and Alex Moffat, who is now gone, or Mikey Day as the host, Miles Teller is the host of the show and is the host of the show of this game show.
He did well.
He did great. That means right off the bat, right? This is right after the monologue, and they're trusting the host of the show to basically run the sketch. That is it's his first time hosting, and he's not just being asked to be like, you're going to do 1/7 of the show.
Yeah,
you're going to be in 1/3 of it. That's awesome.
And he was also in the cold open, which is not,
so they
rare.
They clearly trusted him immediately, and I love that because it means that the writers had faith that he's down for whatever, and also he can handle this.
Yeah.
And so seeing him in that role in the first sketch made me think, like, okay, we're in for something cool.
Well, Miles Teller was actually up for hosting Price is Right before Drew Carey took over. He was one of the,
Shut the fuck up.
Did you guys read any of those text messages from Adam Levine?
Just the ones that, like,
I just saw the silly ones that you actually posted on social media.
No, Nate did that.
Oh, sorry, Nate.
Of you with your picture?
Yeah, thanks, buddy. Just really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Your body is absurd.
Was holy moly a thing? Because I swear to God, it should have been. If Adam Levine really didn't say that, it made it sound like
it is. So this whole concept, right, is so bizarre that
it's 2022 and somebody's literally answering DMs
exactly. That's what I'm like. You're
all you gotta
answering
do is say thanks.
Yeah. And you'll win $1 billion. Bowen, you won $1 billion last time.
I mean, like, you could just even do, like, there are many ways to come off not creepy, and Adam Levine comes off creepy every time.
Well, it's not that's not even it. It says Adam Levine's trying to fuck. Like, you clearly see, like, it should have just been like, what's your address?
Well, I mean,
I'm coming over.
This love has taken its toll on me.
Stop it. I knew. How long have you had that locked and loaded?
Just now.
Okay.
But no, my favorite part of the sketch, I will say, is and I wasn't entirely expecting it, but the fact that they had Bowen Yang lose, and the fact that, like, it's like, oh, wait, hold on. This is from Dua Lipa. Holy moly.
Your songs make my penis smile.
Yeah.
Is that what, yeah. No, it was a good sketch. Also, Kenan Thompson's Neil deGrasse Tyson has like matured and grown into this thing where he's like this coy little playboy. Yeah. and if you've looked over the past like 3 or 4 seasons he's played him, it's gone from just like this kind of nerdy guy to, like, you just see him being like, I'm sorry. Like, it's just very coy.
Slightly innocently horny.
Yeah. I don't know why he's gone that way, but I'm here for it. Like, because Bailey and I were watching the show, and he's he shows up. We're like, well, this is just shoehorning another impression.
Yeah.
And then when he starts talking, I'm like, okay, never mind. Yeah. I'm sorry, SNL. Like, this deserves to be here.
So you've got I think
funny.
A good cold open. You got a good monologue. You've got even a good first sketch.
Yes.
And then things
just were
so you got the pre-tape Be Real. I'm not going to lie to you. I've not even heard of this app.
I had no idea it was a real thing.
I thought it was made up.
And it is a real thing.
It is. I looked it up as well.
I did too.
I'm like, oh, people use this thing, and it's big. So this is a sketch written by Martin Herlihy.
Oh, hold on. My Be Real alert just went off. Hold on.
It's just take a real photo.
A sketch written by Martin Herlihy. So again, the guys that wrote the sketch before, the Please Don't Destroy guys, Martin Herlihy, John Higgins, Ben Marshall, Bowen Yang, and
Wow, big night for the Please Don't Destroy guys, even though they didn't have a Please Don't Destroy
video. And that's
video.
why they wrote everything else.
And so this is two bank robbers played by Miles Teller and Mikey Day have their heist interrupted by Be Real, which is an app, and the app interrupts your phone or interrupts you and says it's time to post. And the whole point is, you don't get to curate your content.
It catches you at like a sudden moment that you don't expect, and you have to take a picture, both front lens and back lens, so people can see where you really are and what you're doing. And then if you don't post it
within
right
like
at that time,
2 minutes,
yeah, and if you don't post it within that time, then you post it at a different time, it tells everyone, oh, this is not really what they were doing at this
You don't
time.
essentially get to post that day,
Yeah.
right?
And well, I walk around perfect all the time, so
the whole idea of the app is to hopefully like
get a lot of toilet pictures.
mitigate some of the inauthentic. But again, I did not like this sketch. I didn't.
it was so this, and I don't know that we're talking about the entire episode overall right now, but the opposite of a crescendo is a decrescendo.
Correct.
And so this episode is a decrescendo because
Yes.
it starts off so strong and then everything else tails off, and the last sketch of that is the worst. So it just, to me, the last two are the worst. So it's like, what happened? This sketch isn't the worst, but it absolutely is the start of the fall off, and it's not great. There were some moments in it that I still laughed, but again, it was not great at all.
Do you think the sketch would have went better if Be Real was more of a thing that 90% of us understood? What
it sounds like maybe it is. And maybe we're just
come
old.
on. No, we are old, but like, come on. Like,
I don't know. I really don't know, because again, almost like
If it's big enough that SNL turned into a sketch, that means it's pretty popular.
or is it just like big in New York City?
also though, no, like the idea that like even if it's not a real thing,
they explain
it really well.
Yeah.
So I get it, and it's fine.
All right, moving on. Charmin Bears, did you guys see that this sketch, potentially, there are some people that say that they stole this premise from another online creator. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I saw this, and it's pretty skeptical. Like, honestly, it's the kind of thing where somebody saw the Charmin Bears commercial and thought, oh, I can do something weird with this. And they did in animated form, but after the initial premise of like, let's take the Charmin Bears as a concept and do something with it, that's where it ends.
All right, so this is the Charmin Bear sketch written by Jake Norblin and Ken Sublett. A Charmin Bear, played by Miles Teller, comes clean to his family, played by Kenan Thompson, Heidi Gardner, and Punky Johnson. Good to see Punky Johnson get involved. This is their second sketch of the night about his real passion after getting accepted into toilet paper college. So,
And that's really all you need to say.
Here's the thing.
So the costume people worked hard on this one.
No, they really.
I know, but that's so funny.
The
Like,
Bears look great.
let's reach.
No. What I will say is I liked this premise when it first started, because I have watched these Charmin Bear commercials and I have sat there and I've thought, why the fuck do they care so much, and like, are they so proud of their clean asses? Like, they come out and they sing songs about it and they're shaking. It's like, I get it's a toilet paper
Brad
commercial.
gets mad. He gets mad.
But I was not expecting it to take this route.
What's the James McAvoy? Mm-hmm. So when he was on the show and they did the Charmin group, what do you call it when you're forced to watch a commercial?
Focus group.
Thank you. The focus group for Charmin, and he goes Charmin at the end of it. Remember this?
No, I don't actually.
So they show a Charmin commercial to a focus group, and he at the end of it, he's like, no, but what about this? Like, what if the Bears do that? And they describe what would happen, and they're all terrible.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, and then he looks at the camera and he goes, Charmin, with his thumb up, right? Bailey and I make that joke all the time because that sketch was so funny to us.
I have to go rewatch that.
It's so great. And when we saw this, I was like, yeah, it was better when the Bears weren't even there, but they were just describing what wouldn't it be funny if, and you just talk about it. That's the funnier bit, and it happened, I don't know, 2 years ago. So we were both like, what is this?
Yeah, it is. Sometimes we have sketches on SNL where it's like you feel like they left a lot of the comedy on the table, and they made direction, they made choices, and it went a certain way. I feel like this could have been a better sketch.
Yeah.
I think you're right, Brad. There is something to be had in the Charmin Bears world.
I will say that Miles Teller learned choreography quickly.
Yeah.
Because that was a lot of choreography.
It wasn't perfect, but
but enough where I'm like, good for you.
I think a lot of the comedy, and whether it worked for you or not is one thing, came from seeing them in those bear suits do that kind of like bit, you know. But it only goes so far.
Yeah, because again, clowns only go so far, right?
Remember when they did it was clearly a Sarah Sherman sketch of the flowers and they were being peed on.
Yes.
So that's an elaborate set piece with very full-on characters that are full life.
Yeah.
And it was great. And this seemed to be like, let's try that again, you know, to bring something like, but there was no substance there's no substance to it.
Also, I don't know if you guys noticed this, and it made me wonder whether or not maybe somebody else was supposed to do it. But first of all, Heidi Gardner's bear headpiece did not fit her correctly.
No, it didn't.
She was wearing it over her eyes
Yeah.
like somebody's from Southern California with a flat-billed hat. Like,
Yeah,
we're
and
just
then,
gonna
and
go
then she
real
finally
low.
fixed it. But then also, did you notice her feet?
Oh, I didn't know. No, yeah, and you know what? Surprisingly for me, I didn't notice Heidi Gardner's feet.
There was something around, it was symmetrical and it was on both feet to the point where it made me wonder if it was something intentional or if it was something
Like
that
a
was
last
wrong.
minute change.
Yeah, something that was wrong with the costume that they needed to like make sure that it was tight enough around her feet so that she didn't fall or something. Because she was the only one that had anything on her feet, so like it didn't feel like it was shoes for the bear or anything
Gotcha.
like that. I don't know. It was like it kind of took me out of it for a second.
Oh, that's the thing that took you out of it?
Well, I was enveloped in the world of the bears.
Not having comedy. Yeah. All right. Moving on. Rooftop Bar, written by Rosebud Baker, Mikey Day, and Shooter Seidel. Two Finance Bros, played by Miles Taylor, Mikey Day. Miles Taylor.
Miles Taylor.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
Try to make conversation with two women at a bar.
Can I reference a previous SNL sketch to give my review of this sketch?
Sure.
It better not be good, but go ahead.
Two wild and crazy guys.
Hello and goodbye.
Yeah.
That's what this was. It was that sketch worse with just cocaine,
weird
alcohol-fueled
broy,
bros.
This for me competes. I agree. The last sketch of the night was the worst. This competes for that, though. I think this was awful.
Oh no, this was not. I think the second worst, but it was annoying and it was not funny.
It just wasn't good. It never got a laugh out of me.
Yeah.
Like it never got a laugh.
I got to admit, I laughed like once or twice at some. It was probably when Mikey Day originally started doing a voice. Like when the first time he was like, "Why did I say that?" The first time,
Yeah, I also
and
laughed.
then he did it nine
I
more
just didn't
times.
get it. Like
I remember laughing at his name too.
What was his name? Oh yeah,
It was something.
Trode.
Yeah, but that
Yeah,
that
brother.
seems so like just easy. It just
It
seems
is.
so.
It is. But also, I laughed.
Yeah.
gonna lie.
Sometimes easy laughs work for me, but the sketch did not.
Yeah. No, I mean I get it. It was,
And I felt like it went on forever.
well, it
That's
was.
exactly. And I wasn't laughing, so it
Yeah.
felt like I think I'm gonna go to the bathroom now.
It's super derivative because they are like, okay, let's fit in as many jokes as we can in this format, and like 3 out of 10 are a little bit like, oh, that was clever enough that I might get a slight chortle out of it. If you have a sketch that does that, where you're doing a shotgun blast and 2 pellets out of 100 hit, not a good sketch, right?
Yeah.
You have a sketch that has 2 chances to make you laugh, but they're both great, and this was a shotgun blast and it missed the mark.
I like the idea of finding characters that maybe can be recurring, right? Like this idea that you can find recurring characters at a bar, and you can bring Mikey Day back with whoever is the host there, and do something.
And maybe that's
fun.
what they were looking for here.
But they didn't find it. I don't want them
only
to
thing
ever
really
bring this character
think
back.
I truly laughed at hard was when she asked for a vodka cranberry, and he goes, "Ooh, UTI," or whatever. That I'm like, that's decently funny, okay, because her reaction to it was really funny. That's it. That's all I'll give it.
All right, moving on. Which again, I'll say it beforehand. A sketch that did make me laugh. Nicole Kidman AMC ad written by Mike DeCenzo, Chloe Fineman, Jake Norman, and Will Steven. Nicole Kidman, played by Chloe Fineman, who clearly wanted to use her Nicole Kidman's impression, really enjoys her time at the movie theater. Let me tell you why I like this. Every time I go to AMC, which we have here locally, I see this pre-roll, yeah, with Nicole Kidman, and I think it's the dumbest thing in the world.
Aww.
No, here's the thing. This is why. I love film. We obviously have another podcast which is on film. We talk about film. We watch film all the time.
The podcast is on film? Wow.
Go flicks yourself.
On 35 millimeter at the Music Box Theater in Chicago.
Nate, I'm sorry, buddy.
He's going to cut all this out anyway.
I know. What I didn't love, though, or what I did love about it is I love the idea of when she's like starting to essentially lead, because they try to make this really inspirational. You're going to the movie theater because again you want to feel something.
Heartbreak feels good in a place like this.
Yes, all these stupid
Does she
lines.
really say that?
Yeah, all these stupid lines that are super emotional, and they're trying to get some kind of emotion out of you before the film starts. I love though at the end where they're standing up and they're saluting her, and Kenan Thompson's looking around like, what the hell is
that? Is easily the best part of this.
Also, he's like, I better salute as well.
yeah.
I don't want to get caught.
Because we've all been there before.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Also, I love it so much, honestly, because he's not gonna run away. Because like, if I run from, like, the character is like, if I run from here, I'm gonna get called out, and I don't want that. I just want to watch the fucking movie. So I'm just gonna put my hand up here and I just leave me alone.
So there was enough in this that I actually liked it. It wasn't great, but I actually did like this one. I'll give it to you, Brad. Go ahead.
It's a very simple premise, and I like this ad. It's just like, it does feel like it's overdoing it. The real ad, I mean. Yeah. It does feel like it's overdoing it. I do like the sentiment behind it, and the ad itself actually has like quite a bit of like people who like love it, where to the point where like there's been people who have like recited it in theaters and like everything.
It's actually a podcast now dedicated to just this ad.
Yeah, they do a review of it every time they've seen it.
I will say that also, Chloe Feynman nailed Nicole Kidman's walk up the stairs.
That's true.
Actually,
I'm pretty sure they shot it in the exact same theater they did the act. I think it's a New York theater.
I would bet.
Yeah.
Dude, when she walked up the stairs, though, I'm like, oh my God, I remember Nicole Kidman's walk from the AMC commercial.
However, I will say that the one thing that did frustrate me from a logistical standpoint is that Nicole Kidman's Australian accent is not that strong in the ad itself.
Well, of course not. It's a caricature.
They went with a little bit of a crikey kind of.
Yeah,
but of course.
But if you're going to impersonate the ad, you should do what is in the ad.
No, I disagree wholeheartedly. That's like saying like Kenan Thompson needs to dial down his Steve Harvey, because Steve Harvey doesn't really sound like that. They're doing a caricature. That's what SNL does.
But I think Steve Harvey does sound like that.
I think though, I do think there's a little bit of, like you said, in any good impression, there's a little bit of flamboyance.
You have to.
There's a little bit of like
no, of course. But it just didn't ring true to me.
It's not supposed to, though. It's supposed to be over the top.
It didn't bother me. I'm just pointing out the little logistical flaw in it. My favorite part of the ad, though, is when she starts talking and Keen just kind of looks over like, what's going on?
That's what I'm saying. Kenan carries this for me, right? So Chloe Feynman is she does a great impression.
I don't know. She didn't look exactly like Nicole Kidman, though. I could tell it wasn't Nicole Kidman.
Yeah.
For me,
thank you.
That was a problem.
Ben, yeah.
But Kenan
thank you for
carries
your earnest criticism.
And we've talked about this on this podcast before, where Kenan can give a look, right, and it carries a sketch. And I thought he carried it. I watched it twice, and I laughed even the second time.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's a funny parody.
They like most things, they tried to end it right, so like she's now all powerful and like it's a cult and it's a know, Storm from X-Men type ending or whatever. But at least they went somewhere with it. And I talked about this over and over again. You have to crescendo. You have to go up from it, and they did, and they tried their best.
Because again, they brought Kenan into it, right? They brought his comedy into it, and that was, if they would have just ended without him awkwardly saluting and knowing what to do, it would have been great. But
honestly, I mean, they did much worse this episode.
So if long-term listeners of this that listened to our first season know, this is the part of the episode where maybe we disagree with the most, and Brad gets the pissiest. This is the time for the weekend update, and so Brad has this thing, make-believe thing, where he wants to see a lot of love, a lot of connection,
not necessarily love.
A lot of.
It's called banter.
If they don't kiss on the mouth, he's like, I don't know.
Hosts.
They just didn't seem into it this week.
It's called banter. It's called camaraderie. Sometimes they show it. Sometimes they like heckle each other, joke at each other, laugh at each other's jokes, have fun. Other times they kind of just do their headline bits. They don't really pay attention to each other very much. They laugh at their own stuff, but not each other.
But sometimes when I say that was a really great example of when they had great banter, Brad goes, I didn't see it.
Yeah, because again, it's all very, very subjective to Brad.
And guess what? This one, no banter.
I will agree there wasn't very much banter.
Nothing. No banter from me. No Jost and Che fun. It was just, let's read our stories and just get done with Weekend Update, I guess.
It did feel like that. It did feel a little bit like that.
One time he did say, like, don't clap at that. And that was the only thing that he said.
There was the when it comes to Che and Bowen Yang's lanternfly bit, there was good back and forth, but obviously he's engaging with that character, you know.
Sure.
But yeah, no banter.
It wasn't
bad banter.
And we'll go with Ben after this, but I didn't think it was a great weekend update. Some of the
There
jokes
were
fine.
some really good.
Yep.
The launch thing of Afghanistan.
Yep.
That was hilarious. There was one other one that was really good. I forget what it was though now.
But it just felt like kind of like the whole episode did, right? Where it was like there was a couple parts that were good. Some of it felt disjointed, and some of it was just okay.
Yeah.
You know? Go ahead.
I did like. I mean, they had 2 Weekend Update characters.
Yeah.
Clearly, Mitch McConnell and Herschel Walker. That's not going to be a recurring bit.
Oh no, there was characters. There were 3 bits.
There were 3 bits.
So talking about Weekend Update just as the jokes.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
agree. There were a couple home runs and like pretty normal
The
shit.
character stuff was the best part.
Yeah,
of
so let's move into that.
Yeah, let's just get right there.
Mitch McConnell and Herschel Walker. What do you think?
And honestly, as somebody who loves
Mitch McConnell.
What did I say? I'm sorry. I thought that I fucked that up. I didn't. You're making fun.
Yeah, you love Mitch McConnell.
I love turkey neck. So as a guy who likes recurring Weekend Update characters and I want to see the best ones, as soon as they rolled out, I'm like, God damn it. Like, I want to see something that's going to have legs and will come back. However, that being said, this was very funny. Like Mitch McConnell and Herschel Walker and Keenan as Herschel Walker. Good Lord, man, I could listen. It's almost it felt almost a little bit like Stefan.
It's simple,
where he got to do like all these like little things that are like, different.
It was like a Stefan meets Charles Barkley meets like it was like all of the
he
above.
got to just say things that if I'm government,
when I'm government,
it's just like. I don't know.
It's
hard to describe.
I had to check to see if those were actually almost lines
again because
that's
tough.
Yeah,
he's not. He has CTA and it's
Walker,
pretty bad.
It's a simple impersonation. There's not a lot to it for Keenan doing it, but there's a certain way that he carries himself. It's the confidence with which he delivers some of these lines that really hits it home.
And James Austin Johnson, again, I'm a political wonk. Did a great Mitch McConnell. Honestly.
Oh my
seriously.
God, dude! And Brad actually said it earlier. I was rewatching this as Brad walked in the door, and he goes, "Man, that neck piece they've got on him is doing the real work here in the scene."
Seriously,
he's moving around, and it looked like
it has such a natural flap to it.
Turtleneck really came. Turtleneck is now a thing.
It's for real, yeah.
But no, I mean it was amazing. So guys, if you're listening to this on the set design crew, whoever did the prosthetics there, good job.
If you if you don't follow this account on Instagram, I believe it's just Louis VFX. He's the guy who does the makeup and stuff for SNL. He's always posting pictures after shows stuff like that.
Really
they show so many cool things.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What's that called again?
I think it's just Louis VFX on Instagram.
Cool.
Moving on, so Michael Longfellow, new cast member, got to come on and do kind of a little bit of a Pete Davidson kind of stand up a little bit.
Yeah.
And he talked. This is written by Michael Longfellow, Jake Norman, and Ben Silva, and he talks about his conservative family members. I love this, and I'm actually really looking forward to it. And in the first line or two, I'm like, we'll see where this goes.
But it's his vibe.
It's his vibe.
Yeah.
Once you get into his vibe, you're like, he's great.
He's dry. He's
swear
subdued.
On my mother, I'm sitting there watching this, and first 2 sentences, I'm going, gosh, I'm so sorry, man. I know SNL is tough. I know the lights are on you, and I know this is stilted and awkward. And then it's like, oh, wait, hold on.
This is him. Yeah.
And so as soon as that happened, I'm like, okay, I'm totally in. I was so nervous for him, and I didn't need to be.
No, he did great. I thought this was great.
Someone in one of the SNL groups made a Norm Macdonald comparison. I think it's a little too soon for that kind of comparison.
Whoa, easy.
It's like, let's pump the brakes on that. But I do like you don't often see a comedian who has a very dry comedic vibe to them. And so seeing someone like this as a featured player, I think, is pretty cool. Just like his delivery is different. He takes time to let things sit. He's not rushing into it. He's not overly enthusiastic.
And while it's very Norm Macdonald-esque, again, it's your first show.
Yeah. But this was great. Especially, I mean, all of us, we're from the Midwest. We have plenty of friends who have parents like this. We have parents like this in some cases. And so hearing him talk about it.
Which parents specifically?
Oh, my dad. No, he wasn't a Trump supporter, but he was like a fiscal conservative.
He was conservative.
And what I loved about it though is obviously SNL is a very liberal, progressive type of show in the center of New York City. It's not known for a lot of nuance politically. I honestly thought he kind of almost showed some love to his family too. That I'm a liberal. They're not. They're crazy.
Yeah.
But they're my family,
right?
You know,
I love.
He told the line really well.
Yeah, especially I felt like, and that was a great line to toe. I thought,
especially the don't ignore your anti-vax family members. It's like they
could be dead tomorrow.
They could be dead tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
But then the awareness to let that joke sit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
there's some
he's
good.
young. I don't know how young he is, but I think he's like under 25 still.
Oh, sure, he looks every bit. of
definitely a 20-something.
It's interesting to me.
Again,
really
jealous.
I don't think his comedy is similar to Pete Davidson, but Norm Macdonald, Pete Davidson, they joined the cast, and there's something different about them than the rest of the cast. You know, and they're stand-up guys. They're these kind of things. I'm interested to see where his trajectory goes. Just kind of, again, I know nothing about the new guys. Well, I really don't. I hadn't had any familiar with them. So,
as always, SNL will give every single new cast member their time, right? They will at least give them a shot. And if this is his shot right off the bat, okay. I mean,
I'm ready for more.
One for one,
right?
Right? Yep. Instead of over one for one.
All right, and you mentioned this earlier, Benny, a spotted lanternfly on being an invasive species, written by Streeter Sedell, Bowen Yang, and Celeste Yim. A spotted lanternfly, played by Bowen Yang, stops by Weekend Update to respond to people calling him an invasive species. I thought this was silly. This is stupid. And I loved it.
Yes, thank you, Nate.
I saw the silliness of it, but again, I thought with a show so packed with everything, it was something they could have cut. So that something else
it felt so random.
I like this better than Grimace.
But it was so much fun.
Exactly. So maybe do this and then maybe have a better sketch instead of Grimace. I don't know.
But it was Bowen Yang is like made this work, and like the vibe of like opening it up like it's like a Maury Povich, kind of thing.
Maybe it's because I thought that maybe this should have not been Weekend Update character. Maybe
you could have made this
a sketch.
You could have made this.
You could have, but I think it would have overstayed its welcome. And I think that there's a big part of like the comedy comes from how Che is interacting with him too.
Yeah, that could be. I just think, and again, I wasn't sure about this, and this is my least favorite of the 3 bits that they did, but I did like it. I really did, and I thought it was funny. It was good to see Bowen Yang back because he got to be himself. He got to be as silly as he is.
He was himself in like the literal first sketch.
I will say I'm gonna give a shout out to my girlfriend Brittany, because anytime Bowen Yang does a character with this, she's like, he's just doing the same thing, and I'm like, yep, but he's good at it.
Yeah.
So did Adam Sandler, right? I mean, so did like all. I mean, honestly, all of our favorites. I want Chris Farley to be boisterous and to break a table every time. That's what I want, right? And so
I want Dana Carvey to always have an open head wound.
Mm-hmm.
It's so you
I want Jerry Minor to get no lines.
I want Punky Johnson to leave the show.
Oh no, she's really coming into her own.
Fuck off! Like, come on.
I'm serious. Don't be mean.
I'm not being mean. She did nothing last year. She's doing nothing this year. Like, come on.
She had a pretty good chunk of the show.
Stop it, guys.
No, like I'm not writing her off. Like, I think she has been improving in the time that she's been on. She's been getting more screen time. She hasn't like knocked anything out of the park yet. She doesn't have a breakout character.
She hasn't found her character.
Yeah, but I think she's been doing pretty well, especially considering she was part of like one of the largest casts of SNL.
And
for a long time.
didn't stand out. And that's
I'll say this: it's a make or break year for her.
Yes.
Of course.
Yeah. I agree. Well, I don't hate her for no reason like Ben does, but she does have to.
But
she does have to prove herself.
But I'm willing to give her this year.
Yeah, I'm talking to only Nate now.
Melissa Villaseñor was on for what, 6 years?
Yeah,
8 years.
Yeah,
whatever. And it's like, why? You
She was very good at impressions.
No, I know, but like
they needed a good impressionist.
Get out.
They also wanted to have some diversity by having a Hispanic cast member.
Moving on. Grimace, written by Dan Bulla, Martin Herlihy, John Higgins, Ben Marshall, and Gary Richardson. Is that the third sketch?
It is.
And they got real tired.
McDonald's Grimace, played by Miles Teller, shocks his fellow mascots, played by Kenan Thompson, Mikey Day, Bowen Yang, and Sarah Sherman, with a new look. When I saw this, I thought, did Sarah Sherman write this for a second? Because I thought it was so bizarre.
It felt like it.
She did not, so let's not blame her.
No one wrote this. They just found it on a napkin.
It
in the
was
parking lot.
awful. It was awful.
Yeah, it had potential because I like when
I never
they do.
really got why Grimace got all beefed up.
I think it was mostly just to be like a funny thing of like, well, Grimace normally looks like a big gumdrop, and now he looks like a Thanos, like Greek club bouncer, and so like there is a comedy about that concept, but it was not executed well in the sketch.
They didn't bring it up though. Like they didn't pull it in well, right?
Yeah.
So you've got the a Grimace also with like a
and I like sketches where they they take characters and like treat them like they're actual like people on a set, like that, like these characters are not actors filming a McDonald's commercial. They're the characters filming a McDonald's commercial. But it just didn't feel like it worked to its full potential. Even Keenan as Mayor McCheese didn't do much in this sketch, you know?
there was nothing Keenan could do to save this.
Yeah, it was just a mess.
It was awful.
All it did was remind me of there is a picture that is like virally famous on the internet of like, you know, of Thanos wearing just a t-shirt and like he's bent over and looking over his back and like you see his bare ass and it's made to look like this pornographic image of purple sexy Thanos.
Is it viral?
Yes.
Or is that just something you have?
At least it's viral in my brain.
I was like, I've never seen this before.
Have you really never seen
I've
this?
seen a lot of.
I'm not joking. I've never seen this before.
I'm telling you, I've seen a lot of
It
the
also
internet. And
it also might be a film Twitter thing.
This super viral thing that totally exists and has been seen by trillions of people.
I have seen it all over film Twitter, and so it might be. Just
I
like
believe
it
you.
might it might be just be an in thing there.
I don't believe him.
But it is. But like as soon as I saw Miles Teller looking like Grimace like that, I was like, that just looks like that sexy Thanos picture, and I got excited.
Now this sketch seems like something, Ben, you would have loved, right? Did you love
No,
this?
it's terrible.
Ben, I mean, you probably would have liked it more if Melissa Villaseñor was in it. Right?
I'm hating it.
Oh,
Ayo.
Next.
Caribbean Queens.
Next. Let's just end the show.
Get out of my dreams.
Oh, Aidy Bryant and Kate McKinnon are gone. You know what we should replace this with?
Something worse.
The credits.
Yeah.
Just Jesus.
That was literally
why?
the first line of my thing when I mentioned this. So I do.
What did you really say?
I said I was like, boy, if you weren't missing Kate McKinnon and Aidy McBryant before, you definitely are now.
It's just.
By the way, was this supposed to be a public access television show?
Who cares? It doesn't
because
matter.
like
Nate.
that's not a thing anymore.
I'm
I'm
not digging into this.
I don't mind if they do that, but like it didn't feel like the premise had enough legs to establish itself in its own reality.
It wasn't Farley and Sandler.
I want to put this out here right now. Even for a stupid, shitty SNL review podcast, this doesn't deserve our time. It's bad. We're done. It's just don't watch it.
I have one question about this sketch that I do. Why was Miles Teller sweating so much? Did you guys notice that?
I think it was supposed to be. I think it was supposed to be a thing of like that character is like he's an older guy and he's just always hot and sweaty.
But the other guy wasn't.
No, but like that's not the joke.
Okay, because they didn't really talk about it.
Yeah, exactly.
There were no jokes.
It was meant to be just a visual thing, I think, where he looks like this older guy, the kind of guy who like you see on a beach and is just
looked
sweating.
like he was like sweating for no reason. I'm like, what is that?
I think that's why. That's what I thought.
It was the worst sketch. It was awful.
I have reformatted the way that I've been doing my SNL reviews at Slash Film because let me tell you, reviewing every single sketch gets exhausting, and it's just not worth the time to put it everywhere. And so I reformatted it where I focus on the best sketch and I focus on the weirdest sketch, and then I mention the worst sketch. And this one, I was really like, oh, yep, that's going right in there.
We're done.
So
we
are not done though. We are not done because we still have to pick.
Get out of my dreams.
Moving on. So our listeners should know by this point we pick a favorite sketch and we pick a favorite cast member or the cast member.
I forgot about that part.
Best sketch.
Do it the last minute.
Nothing's changed. Season 2 of the podcast, Ben's the same asshole.
So we do try to do that each time. We know which one was the worst sketch.
Sure.
We'll go with Brad to give Ben some time to think. Brad, what was your favorite sketch of the night?
My favorite sketch was the cold open. Definitely, I love the meta jokes in it. I loved how they poked fun at themselves. Having John Hamm show up as special guest was great, as well as the random Shaun White cameo. And Miles Teller as Peyton Manning was fantastic. It was, I think they started and peaked early, and then it just got a little bit worse, a little worse.
Nate, how about you, buddy? What was your favorite?
I would agree. I thought also because the impression of Peyton Manning was so good.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't just that, and again, some of I think Ben's criticism at the top of the podcast isn't without merit. I think there is some inside baseball happening there, which again I'm okay with. I thought it was still funny. I thought it was good. I love that sketch. I rewatched it. It was really good.
I think that the game show sketch was my favorite, just because again, if the cold open would have been later on for us diehards, and just something else would have been in place to like draw.
Do you think they could have done the cold open with the game show sketch?
I mean, they've never done that, to my knowledge, but I think they could have, honestly. And it would have been amazing to see Miles Teller just open the show as a game. Man, what a cool turn for season 48. Never been done before, or since I can remember. I would have loved that. So I will say, though, I didn't give a shit really about the Adam Levine stuff. That wasn't the funny part. Everything else was. Like Neil deGrasse Tyson was really funny. Who was this? So it was Adam Levine and then
Armie
Hammer, yeah. Forgot all about him. But yeah.
I want to suck your blood.
Yeah, I'm going to break your bones and drink the marrow. Yeah, no, I know exactly what I'm going to say. Like, there were good enough moments in that where we're picking through a pile of shit to find something not shit, and that's what I thought.
Well, wouldn't go that far. I mean,
the episode...
I don't think that episode was
decrescendo, Brad.
It did decrescendo.
Yeah,
I do agree.
It did.
I think there were some solid sketches in there. I think there were some really funny sketches, including the one you just brought up.
Yeah.
The first
when it comes to season
I think the
premieres,
AMC stuff was good. I think
when it comes to season premieres, not strong.
I want Miles Teller to come back when there's a better show to be had.
He was a great great host. Let's go into, before we end here, who do you think was cast member of the night?
This was a tougher question.
I agree.
That I didn't really have an answer for, because I didn't think that there was really anybody who was like a
all-star, like, wow, they did this.
Yeah, there was no huge standout to me. I guess if I had to pick one, I would probably go with Bowen Yang. Yeah.
And maybe Keenan after that.
I gave it to Michael Longfellow. And here's why.
I thought about that, but...
I was told we're not allowed to give Weekend Update characters the fucking MVP.
He wasn't.
Now we're doing this?
No. You can't pick them as your favorite sketch. You can give someone who had a Weekend Update bit MVP.
But here's why.
That's even worse.
No.
That's the only thing he did all night, and he's the MVP of the entire show?
But I think the reason Nate's giving it to him is probably the same reason I would almost give it to him. Go ahead, Nate.
There wasn't a lot of option, I thought. I think, again, it was a hard choice.
Everything else was shit. Okay. That's fair.
I thought he nailed it.
Yeah.
I think it's hard for a first-time cast member to come in there and nail it. I think he did have a really funny small bit in the first sketch as well.
Yeah.
I thought that was really funny. And so, I thought Bowen was fine. I didn't think he was bad. I thought he made me laugh a lot. I think Keenan was fine. He made me laugh a lot. He didn't do anything unsuspecting, though. So I'm going to give it to him. Why not?
I think it's fair, because I think you're right. It is tough to be a featured player and to like make some kind of impression on your first show. And the fact that he got a Weekend Update position like that on his first episode, means that like they're like, yeah, you know what, this is funny enough. Let's give him a shot.
All right, fine. Michael Longfellow gets it.
He didn't get it.
All right, coming up, we've got some more episodes. I think we've got three in a row, including this one.
It seems like they're doing their new thing now, because there used to be like some inconsistency where they used to have like 2 episodes and then we'll back for 1, then we'll do 3. Now it seems like they're always doing chunks of 3, because if you guys didn't see, maybe you didn't because you don't follow stuff like weirdly like we do, but Shaun White posted a behind the scenes photo from being like
I forgot. Shaun White was in this episode.
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier. But he posted a behind-the-scenes photo, and you can see the schedule, the pegboard on the bulletin board behind him, and it had the cards for all the dates for the shows for the season.
Didn't say who the guest was or anything.
The host, but just the dates, and it's chunks of 3 spread out for 21 episodes.
Don't worry, guys. Cecily Strong is still on the cast.
Yes, we should address
missing.
that. Yeah, so she's not in the opening credits because she is busy doing a play in Los Angeles right now. She's the lead in it, and they just shot the intro like before the season began.
Like, you're not going to say like, you could ask, Well, I mean, if she's on the show, why didn't they at least include? But they
She wasn't
shoot
in New
these
York.
things like literally a week ago.
Exactly. So yeah, she wasn't there to do it.
And Kate McKinnon again spent time
Not on the show.
Last year away. The first I think.
Oh,
half.
a lot of people.
So
Cecily was gone for a little bit too.
This was not a thing that SNL cast members got to do before,
Yeah.
and I think this is something.
But
Lorne Michaels
this is the
allowing
first
them to
time
do.
where a cast member in the show is not
Yep.
in the opening.
Yeah, it
credits.
is weird.
That's
I
a
know
little
people were
different.
panicking.
Yeah.
But no, I think she's back.
No ill will.
I wouldn't. It wouldn't be shocking to me to see that this is her final season. I don't
Oh,
know that
it will be her final
Yeah, I think so.
But I'm ready for her to come back. But again,
Also, crazy that Alex Moffat is back.
yeah.
Oh, in my dreams only.
I wish.
Who's the host next week?
Next week we have Brendan Gleeson, who you might remember as playing Mad Eye Moody in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, as well as several other Harry Potter movies. He's got a new movie coming out called The Banshees of Inisherin. It looks like the kind of movie Ben will probably hate.
No, I actually really like the trailer.
No, it's he's in it with Colin Farrell, and
he was in Bruges with Colin Farrell
as well.
and that's a brilliant movie.
It is. He's a great actor. He's also in Gangs of New York. He's been in a bunch of stuff over the years. And
It's one of those guys you see him and you're like, oh, that's
Yeah.
yeah, Domhnall Gleeson's father actually. So, and
Not related to my hawk.
no, inside baseball. Musical guest Willow. They got the fantasy character to come in and sing some magic songs.
I assume is that what Will
Warwick-
Smith is going by now?
Yeah, she's a singular name now.
Warwick Davis will rock your face off.
Yeah, he has a great fiddle.
hey, Brad, at the end, again, we have another podcast, Go Fix Yourself, where we talk about films. I hope you guys listen to that as well. But Brad is a film critic. He does great work for Slash Film. At the end of our podcast here, I always ask you, suggest a film for our people to listen to. What do you got?
To listen to?
Or to watch, sorry.
No, just to
By the way,
listen to.
we've been doing like 7 hours of podcast tonight. All right, I'm done.
Oh, I've been doing podcasting today way longer than you guys have.
We can tell.
Gosh, put me on the spot.
What's a movie that in Halloween season, which we are in,
Yeah.
even if it's not brand new,
Yeah.
but you've heard, I've heard, and you've told me, Barbarian.
Oh, yeah. If you haven't seen Barbarian, you should go see it in theaters. It is a wild, twisted freak of a movie. And go
Brad
in.
told me, don't see shit about
Yeah,
it.
go
Don't
in.
do a
Go
trailer.
in knowing as little as possible. Don't. Thankfully, the early trailers that were released, they don't really give anything away that's not in the first 10, 15 minutes of the movie. But since the movie has been out now, there have been a couple trailers that do show you more. So don't watch anything. But if you like horror movies, go see Barbarian in theaters. It's a lot of just dark, twisted fun.
Okay. Nate, what's a movie that you think people should... No, we're not doing that. Where can people find you guys?
At Ethan_Anderton on Twitter, also at slashfilm.com, writing about movies and TV, especially Saturday Night Live on the weekends now. And also my their Slash Film Daily podcast. I appear on there every now and then. And I've got an Instagram called Look at Brad's Junk, where I talk about junk food and snacks and soft drinks and lots of good things.
Nate Laux, where can people find you?
I'm on the Twitters, I'm on the Instagrams, I'm on all those things, and you can find us on the 10 to 1 podcast Facebook. Just look us up at Facebook and Twitter, 10 to 1 podcast. We're on there, and subscribe and like us and share this.
Does anybody remember how to end the podcast?
Yes, I do.
Okay, go ahead.
Hey guys, thanks for listening.
Be good to yourself,
be good to others, and keep listening.